Your grandmother had a secret on her kitchen windowsill, glass jars filled with plants that grew in nothing but water. No soil, no fertilizer, no fuss. She just topped off the water, and those plants kept growing, year after year after year. Today I'm revealing 20 indoor plants that do the same thing. And number 17 is so beautiful, people won't believe it's real. It grows roots in 24 hours. But the very last one on this list, that one starts from something already sitting in your kitchen, and it costs absolutely nothing. Oh, and I'll flag every single toxic plant for your furry friends. Let's get into it. Now, before we dive into the list, I need to tell you something. The indoor plant industry is worth billions, and they'd rather you didn't know what I'm about to show you. Today, I'm sharing 20 plants that grow in nothing but water. But I'm not just listing them. I'm giving you 3 things nobody else does. First, the wisdom your grandmother already knew. She didn't need fancy equipment. Second, safety flags for every toxic plant, because your pets matter. And third, the real cost. Spoiler, most of these are completely free. You'll see difficulty levels, water schedules, and light needs for every single plant. Let's start with the 5 absolute stars of water gardening. Number 1, Pothos, also known as devil's ivy. I'll never forget, my grandmother had a pothos cutting in a mason jar on the kitchen windowsill. She never bought soil for it. Not once. She'd just top off the water and it kept growing, year after year after year. Beginner. Water change weekly. Bright indirect light. And here's the flag. Toxic to cats and dogs. Calcium oxalate crystals. I'll be honest, a friend's cat chewed on a pothos leaf and ended up at the emergency vet. Swollen mouth, drooling. The whole thing. That's why I flag every toxic plant for you now. It takes 2 seconds, and it could save you a vet bill, or worse. Now here's the thing about pothos in water. It develops completely different roots than soil roots. Specialized water roots, thinner, more efficient, designed to pull nutrients straight from the water. It's not surviving in water, it's thriving in water. Between you and me, I once paid $15 for a pothos at a fancy plant shop. $15. Then I found out you can get to cutting from literally anyone who has one for free. I still think about that $15. Think of pothos as the gateway to water gardening. Once you see those roots, you're hooked. Number 2, lucky bamboo. Now, lucky bamboo isn't actually bamboo at all. It's a Dracaena. Dracaena sanderiana. But don't let the name fool you. This plant has been living in water in Asian households for centuries. Beginner. Water change bi-weekly. Low light, okay. Toxic, mild, saponins. It evolved by riverbanks. Its roots are literally designed to be submerged. You can pick one up for $3 to $5 and it'll live for years, just sitting there in water, looking elegant, asking for nothing. Lucky bamboo is the quiet achiever. It sits there looking elegant, asking for nothing, living longer than most houseplants you've fussed over. Have you ever had one of these? Let me know in the comments. Number 3, Philodendron, the heartleaf variety. Beginner, water change weekly, bright indirect, toxic, calcium oxalate. Here's what makes Philodendron special in water. It doesn't just tolerate water. It develops permanent water roots, not temporary transition roots, permanent ones. It's one of the fastest, most reliable rooters in water culture. A philodendron cutting from a friend. Free. At the store. $12 to $18. You do the math. Perfect for that bookshelf in your studio apartment. If Pothos is the gateway, Philodendron is the loyal companion that never lets you down. Number 4. Spider plant. Here's your first totally pet-safe pick. Beginner. Water change weekly. Bright indirect. Pet safe. If you have cats, dogs, kids, this one's for you. Spider plants do something incredible. They produce these little plantlets, baby plants, that dangle down with their own mini root systems already built in. Nature designed this plant to land in water and grow. It's literally what it wants to do. One plant equals infinite babies, free forever. Spider plant is the gift that keeps giving. It's basically the plant version of a chain letter, except this one actually works. Don't judge me, but there was a time I forgot to change the water on my spider plant for, well, let's not talk about how long. The water turned green. The plant, still alive, still growing. That's when I realized these plants are tougher than we give them credit for. Number 5. Peace lily. Intermediate. Water change weekly. Low light, okay. Toxic, calcium oxalate. This is our first yellow circle plant. Not hard, but it needs a little patience during transition. Critical. Do not transfer a peace lily directly from soil to water. You need to wash all the soil off the roots first. Gently. Take your time. Then let it sit in clean water and wait. But here's the reward. Once it settles in, it'll bloom those gorgeous white spathes in water. Your guests will think you're some kind of plant wizard. Peace lily is the plant that rewards patience. It takes a few weeks to settle in. But once it does, you'll wonder why you ever bothered with soil. Now, are you starting to see the pattern? 5 plants, 0 soil, most of them free if you get cuttings from friends. Let me show you something. Those 5 plants, total cost if you get cuttings from friends, $0. Total equipment needed, 5 glasses of water. That's it. That's Grandma's secret. Simplicity. Now we're getting into the specialist, and some of these might surprise you. Number 6. Chinese Evergreen. Aglaonema. Beginner. Water change weekly. Low light. Toxic. The leaves on this plant look like someone hand-painted them. Silver. Pink. Red. Cream. Every variety looks like a different piece of abstract art. The Victorians loved this plant for its shade tolerance. And here's something the competitor won't tell you. The colors can actually intensify in water with proper light. You read that right. More beautiful in water than in soil. Number 7. English Ivy. Beginner. Water change weekly. Both bright and low light work. Toxic. Here's why English Ivy is practically made for water culture. It has aerial roots. Those little bumps along the stems, those are roots waiting to happen. Drop a cutting in water and they activate almost immediately. English Ivy actually roots faster and more reliably in water than in soil. Multiple cuttings in one jar equals an instant trailing waterfall for your bookshelf. How cool is that? Number 8. Coleus, beginner. Water change twice per week. Bright light, safe. If you want color, this is your plant. Red, pink, purple, yellow, green. Sometimes all on the same leaf. And here's the kicker. Coleus roots in 3 to 5 days. Mix different varieties in one jar, and you've got a display that looks like a living painting. Number 9. Angel Wing Begonia, intermediate. Water change twice per week. Bright, indirect. Toxic. Spotted leaves, painted patterns, delicate flower clusters hanging down. This is proof that water culture isn't just for easy plants. Begonia is a natural epiphyte. It's moisture adapted from the start. And this one can actually bloom and grow 2 feet tall in nothing but water. If someone tells you water plants can't be dramatic, show them an angel wing begonia. Number 10. Arrowhead Plant, Syngonium, beginner. Water change weekly. Bright, indirect. Toxic. See those aerial roots on the stems? Those activate instantly in water, just like the one Grandma kept by the kitchen sink. Here's something that'll surprise you. Arrowhead plant actually grows faster in water than in soil. Counterintuitive, but true. And it shapeshifts. Give it support, and it climbs. No support, it trails. Your choice. We're halfway through, and you already have 10 plants that live in nothing but water. How many of these do you have? Count them up in the comments. I'm curious. If you're finding this valuable, do me a favor and hit that like button. We're building something here. A community that values simplicity over complexity. Wisdom over marketing. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Because the second half has some of my absolute favorites. Number 11. Silver Inch Plant, Tradescantia, beginner. Water change every 3 to 5 days. Bright, indirect. Pet safe. Fast and safe. If you have pets, this is a no-brainer. Here's what's incredible about this plant. See those little bumps at every node along the stem? Those aren't growing roots. They're activating pre-existing root nubs that are already built in. Cut it this morning. Check it this afternoon. Roots already starting. 24 to 48 hours. Visible root system. 1 week, dense and thriving. This is one of the fastest and safest plants on this entire list. Number 12. Monstera, intermediate. Water change weekly, plus liquid fertilizer bi-weekly. Bright, indirect. Toxic. This is the statement plant. Those iconic split leaves, up to 2 feet across, in nothing but a jar of water. Monstera has thick aerial roots that convert into powerful water roots. And yes, the leaves can still develop those famous splits and holes in water culture. A Monstera at the store, $25 to $60. A cutting from a friend, free. And the one thing the stores won't tell you, it needs a little liquid fertilizer every 2 weeks for long-term water living. That's it. That's the secret. Number 13. Dieffenbachia, intermediate. Water change weekly. Bright, indirect, highly toxic. This is the strongest safety warning on today's list. Dieffenbachia is called dumb cane because its sap can temporarily numb your mouth and throat. Keep this one high on a shelf, far from curious hands and paws. But, and this is amazing, it has incredible regeneration. Take a bare stem cutting, drop it in water, and it sprouts roots and brand new leaves. From a bare stick, In water, nature's comeback kid, but handle with care. Number 14. Dracaena. Beginner. Water change bi-weekly. Moderate light. Toxic. The patience plant. Dracaena is slow, but it lives years in water. Pro tip: use filtered or distilled water. Dracaena is sensitive to fluoride in tap water. It'll brown the leaf tips. Switch to filtered water and the problem disappears. Nature designed this one for endurance, not speed. And sometimes the slow growers are the most rewarding. Number 15. Prayer plant. Maranta. Advanced. Water change weekly. Bright indirect. No direct sun. Pet safe. Our only red circle plant today. But so worth it. This plant folds its leaves up at night, like hands in prayer. It's called Nyctinasty, and it's one of the most mesmerizing things in the plant world. Here's the beautiful thing about growing prayer plant in water. The water evaporation creates a perfect little microclimate of humidity around the leaves. It's like the plant designed its own environment, safe and mesmerizing. Watch it fold every evening, and you'll never look at a houseplant the same way again. Now let me rapid fire a couple more. And remember, number 17 is the one I told you about at the beginning. Number 16, Swiss cheese vine, Monstera adansoni, intermediate, water change weekly, bright indirect, toxic. All the beauty of Monstera in a compact package, perfect for apartments. Those natural holes in the leaves, called fenestrations, make it look like living Swiss cheese. It trails or climbs continuously. Your choice. Number 17. Here it is. I told you this one was special. Purple Heart, Tradescantia pallida. Beginner. Water change weekly, bright light, pet safe. Purple Heart grows roots in 24 hours. That's not an exaggeration. Cut it this morning. Check it this afternoon. Roots already starting. By tomorrow, clear visible roots. By the end of the week, a complete plant. Give it bright light and the leaves turn purple so deep it's almost black. And it's safe for pets. Fast, beautiful, and family-friendly. Was it worth the wait? I think so. Now we're entering the kitchen window territory. Plants you can actually eat. Number 18. Mint. Beginner. Water change twice per week. Bright light. Pet safe and edible. Here's the genius of growing mint in water. In soil, mint is invasive. It takes over everything. But in a jar of water, it stays exactly where you put it. Controlled, contained, and you can harvest it every single week. Fresh mint for your tea, your mojitos, your cooking, right from your windowsill. 0 grocery runs. $0. The more you pinch it, the more it grows. That's not a metaphor. Harvesting actually makes the plant bushier. Number 19. Basil. Beginner. Water change every 3 to 4 days. Bright light, the brightest you've got. Pet safe and eatable. Modern studies actually confirm this. Basil produces more essential oils when grown in water than in soil. That means better flavor. From a simpler setup, better flavor, 0 mess, infinite supply. Your kitchen just became a herb garden. Pinch the tops regularly, and it branches out into a bushy little bush of deliciousness. Between the mint and the basil, you now have a windowsill herb garden that costs nothing, grows forever, and makes your kitchen smell amazing. And now, the last one, number 20. The one that starts from something already sitting in your kitchen. Sweet potato vine. Beginner. Water change weekly. Any light. Pet safe and edible. And here's the thing. This is the plant Grandma was famous for. She'd grab a sweet potato from the pantry, stick it halfway in water, and within a month, her entire kitchen window was covered in heart-shaped vines. She called it her free curtain. $0, zero effort, just pure kitchen window magic. This plant represents everything we've talked about today. It's free. It starts from something in your pantry. It's safe for every member of your family. And your grandmother already knew it worked. No app, no grow light, no expensive equipment. Just a sweet potato, a jar of water, and a little bit of patience. Grandma didn't need a plant store. She had a kitchen. That's why Grandma saved this one for last. So, remember what I said at the very beginning. Your grandmother had plants growing in jars on every windowsill. And now you know her secret. She didn't chase the newest, trendiest plants at the garden center. She didn't spend a fortune on soil and fertilizer and fancy pots. She chose the ones that proved themselves in nothing but water, year after year. She picked the ones that showed up, no matter what. And that's exactly what you have now. 20 plants that do the same thing. Here's your quick recap. Water schedules. 6 plants need fresh water twice a week. 10 are weekly. And 4 are every 2 weeks. That's your entire maintenance schedule. Pet safety, if you have furry friends. Your safe 7 are spider plant, silver inch, prayer plant, purple heart, mint, basil, and sweet potato vine. Circle those. Those are your starting lineup. And the cost? Total investment. If you get cuttings from friends and a sweet potato from the pantry, $0. The indoor plant industry is worth billions, and your grandmother beat it with a mason jar and some tap water. You now have 20 plants that can turn any space. A kitchen counter, a bookshelf, a bathroom windowsill into Grandma's glass garden. Now I need to know, are you team trailing vines, team edible herbs, or team dramatic foliage? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If this list helped you, hit that subscribe button right here, because we've got a lot more coming. Next week, we're diving into something even more exciting. Now go grab a glass, find a cutting, and start your glass garden. Grandma would be proud. I'll see you in the next one.